Is TMNT Mutants Unleashed worth our time? We're about to find out. Welcome everyone to episode 231 of 1 Hour, 1 Decision, 1H1D. I am Chris.
And I am Tom.
And we take 60 minutes and play a random, sometimes, game on Xbox Game Pass. Except this time, Tom decided to take the wheel.
Yes, and I'm offended that you abbreviated the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that we grew up with.
Fair. But to be clear, though, we'll talk about it a little bit. It is based on something of recent, and they made it shortened as well.
Jerks.
So we are talking about TMNT Mutants Unleashed, developed by Aheartfulofgames. All one word, by the way. All one word. This game came out in October of 2024, multi-platform. PC, PS4, PS5, Switch, Xbox One, and Xbox Series consoles all came out at the same time. That's great.
Magnificent.
Well, yeah. I play this on the PC, 27.16 gigabytes on the PC. Tom, what about you?
Golly gee, Chris, what are all those extra gigs for?
Extra turtles? I don't know.
Are there a whole bunch of secret characters on yours that aren't on mine?
Maybe not.
Could be. 11.52 gigabytes on the Series S.
Wow. That
An
is
incredible savings.
That is incredible. Well done, Series S and Aheartfulofgames. Guess they want to shove it all in the PC or something. Well, what kind of game is this, Tom?
Third turtle action.
Ooh, I see what you did there. I put third person 3D beat 'em up.
Yes, it is definitely a beat 'em up. In fact, I have beat 'em up in parentheticals after mine, but
fair enough.
Couldn't resist the swap from person to turtle. So
yeah, they are turtles. Anthropomorphic, whatever the word is. All right, well, let's get to the game loop then.
Platform your way through New York City, beating up rogue mutants on the way.
Well, I took a word that I heard in my hour and said, beat up mubies to progress to the next section.
Yes. Mubies being new mutants.
Yes. That I believe Michelangelo coins in this game.
Well, they don't want to be insensitive. So.
Yeah. Well, now before we get to our insensitive stuff, let's talk about our positive stuff here. What do we like about this game?
I want to say I did watch the film on which this is based.
Yes.
But you don't need to, because in the very beginning of the game, you get a recap of what happened in the film. So, you just play this game. And I appreciate that. I appreciate games that don't make me do homework before I play them.
Yeah. And that's what I was really surprised that this just kind of picks up where the movie left off. And that was kind of cool. And it was kind of cool. I don't know. I heard a lot of people it was pretty controversial, the look and feel of the movie, but I liked it, and I like that this game kind of stuck to that for the most part, and gave me that same look and feel of the movie, which I thought was cool. I appreciated that.
Yeah, I think it delivers a really neat art style. Mm-hmm. Even when your turtle is eclipsed by the objects, by the terrain.
Yeah.
It does this kind of almost like sketch pad.
Right.
Looking,
very scratchy art.
Scratchy, scribbly sort of thing to show the parts of your turtle that are obfuscated.
Yeah.
It's got a cool look to it, and it's definitely a different look, for the turtles, which is, I mean, they've got to keep reinventing themselves. Yeah, really, you think about the original comic book version of the turtles, and then the animated turtles that you and I grew up with, and they look completely different.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I think they're trying to lean more towards the comic book style. The original comic book style was very kind of rough because it was a self-published book, right? From what I understand. So,
two dudes trying to make a comic.
Yeah. And well, now they've made an empire. It's crazy how four turtles with different types of samurai and Japanese weapons has become a phenomenon to this day.
It's nuts.
It's nuts. Yeah. This game, I don't believe they used the same actors as the movies, but they had very similar style or sounding ones, and they sounded pretty good, I must say.
Yeah, I liked, talking about the voice acting, I liked the way that they kind of riff off of each other, and there's humor in it. They lean into like Splinter being the awkward dad and them very much being teenagers, which, in certain instances of the Ninja Turtles, they are more teenagers. In other ones, they're like these don't feel like teenagers at all.
They're just like adults, like pretending to be from the early 2000s.
Yes,
like movies and TV shows of yore, where it was like that doesn't look like a normal.
These are clearly not high schoolers.
Yeah. So yeah, I do appreciate that. And I feel like each character did feel different enough to play, which I appreciated.
Yeah,
they all had their different style.
They have different mechanics, which is not. I don't want to say unusual, but like I think in a traditional beat 'em up, there's some variation, but like these do feel like different.
Yeah,
and especially as you start to upgrade them.
Right, exactly. So that was cool. I am a big fan of Raph, and so I was glad that Raph had a parry. That was very cool. It was cool that he had a parry. So I was when I got to play him, I was super excited to do that. And and then this game is a beat 'em up, but it has kind of like a semi non-linear structure to it.
Yeah, right.
So like it is open, like it's not open world where you can walk around everywhere. But you have a map that you can kind of jump around to do missions. So there's that whole thing, but you do have like a timer or something like that to do all of them, or progress, and then you have to progress the story.
As you complete a day or a mission or whatever, you are returned back to the lair.
Yeah,
and then from the lair is kind of like the hub world, right, where you can upgrade the turtles. And you can enter secret codes.
Yeah,
I don't know what they are, but I'm curious.
Big head mode.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah.
And then as you leave the lair, it gives you the map, and the map has the different places you can go. Mm-hmm. And like you said, Chris, certain missions have like a timer on them. Where it's like this is due in a day or 2 days or 3 days. And then when you go to anywhere in the city, time advances. Mm-hmm. So you do have to kind of manage, what you do when, so you don't expire quests. Yeah,
it seemed very much like they were borrowing from Persona or like those kind of games. And I was like, huh, okay.
It is a weird choice for a beat 'em up, especially if you're coming to this having played other Ninja Turtle games where they're kind of very straightforward. And you just kind of go from mission to mission to mission, and then it's over.
That's an interesting point. Like, if we're expecting, if you like, you can almost like talk to anyone and say, I played a Ninja Turtles game, and the first thing they think of is it's going to be a beat 'em up.
Yeah,
like just separate, stage 1 through 9 or whatever it is, and going left to right, maybe up and down. But that's about it. So this does change things a bit, and so it's almost like, whoa, okay, yes, we're still a beat 'em up, but it's like TMNT or Ninja Turtles is still defined as a beat 'em up. No, it seems like no matter what.
Yeah.
Like, will there be a real time strategy? Will there be a tactics game? I don't know. Maybe someone will do that. I could see a tactics game working though. I could see a tactics game.
I think if they did it based on the IDW Turtles, which is the modern comic Turtles, I think that there's a lot of meat on that bone. Like, they probably could do a lot of different things because they really expanded the lore, and they have different like factions and things like that. They really could do a lot with that. In something like this, I'm not sure in this universe if tactics works, but
you could do a dungeon keeper style game where you play as Shredder, stopping the turtles from like entering, the was it Megadome? No, Technodrome. Thank you. Something like that. Or Krang. Krang is the guy who does the Technodrome. So, something like that. That'd be kind of cool. What else you got here in likes?
I think you've the tutorial. I thought it was well paced.
Yeah,
I like it. Teaches you as you go, gives you kind of the gamut of the turtles. So you play each one of them in turn, and you learn each turtle and kind of how they're different.
Absolutely, yes. Now we do need to talk about our dislikes then, don't we, Tom?
Yes. So I'll jump around a little bit, but
yeah,
you mentioned the voice acting.
yeah.
I was not a huge fan of Mikey's voice, and it just read to me too mature.
Yeah,
for Michelangelo.
I guess you're right. Yeah, I was like, wait, like he definitely seemed older for sure. It was like, wait, he's supposed to be like the fun-loving, like okay, like I'm thinking about it from the animated,
sure,
from the '90s, where he was Cowabunga, California guy kind of style, and I feel like they kind of followed that kind of style for him over the years. So this was kind of quite a change of pace from that. So I was like, huh, okay, well that's a choice.
Yeah, and I don't remember getting that read from him in the film when I watched the film. It just felt kind of weird to me. And that was the only one that felt kind of weird to me. All the other ones, I didn't make that comment at all anywhere else. But my favorite turtles are Donatello and Michelangelo. So if you're playing as Michelangelo, you're certainly going to notice it and feel it in a way that you probably wouldn't if you were playing as one of the other turtles.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed. And this game, for what it is, which is essentially a beat 'em up, I felt like it just felt very choppy.
Yeah,
there was a lot of stop. Like I feel like the levels are very small, and like it's like a cutscene, small port, like they were trying to follow Kojima or something like that, with like a little bit of action and then like a cutscene. But granted, the cutscenes weren't super long. But like it was just like like I was like, okay, cool, I'm fighting. Now I'm like, I have to hear another cutscene about something and it was like sometimes like unnecessary. It was like with like the characters you're gonna beat up, like the newbies, like getting ready to, like I was like, I saw them already. You don't need to make me see them again in this cutscene. Like it just, a lot of it just felt like they were padding the hours or something for the game. It was weird, and yeah. So I was like, it just made me feel like I was I was out of the moment a lot more than I wanted to be.
I agree with you completely. I wrote, there's a lot of exposition in here for a Ninja Turtles game.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, the premise is pretty ridiculous. Like, just Ninja Turtles full stop. So just let me beat up bad guys as a Ninja Turtle. Like that's why I'm here. And the game like doles that out at like not a great pace, because it does keep stopping itself to do these, the storytelling.
Yeah, that pacing was weird. Circling back with the voiceover though, which I thought I appreciated the fact that the game has voiceover, but then there was like, I don't know if it was like a polished thing or something was just like audio was missing. But there are certain times where there was just no voice acting.
Yeah,
and I was like, wait,
I experienced that as well.
And I didn't know if it was a bug or if that was just on purpose. And it was just weird because of how prevalent the voice acting is throughout most of the game. Like, with some of the games that we've played before, there are like, I feel like you can tell when there are certain moments that can be for non-voice acted sections, but this, it was just like there was no division with that, so it was very more prevalent. And so I was like, oh, is this game like not complete? Like I know the art style is very like unpolished looking, but does the game have to feel that way too? I don't know. That's how I felt about
it. I don't disagree with you, and I will point out that I did experience a serious bug while playing mine, where I ended up completely out of bounds. As a turtle, and like basically had to off myself or restart the map in order to get the game going again, because it was just like I was completely out of bounds, and not in like a fun secret Mario Brothers way. Like,
right, yeah, just not. Yeah, I get that. Yeah, and I felt like a lot of times this is the struggle, I feel like, with 3D beat 'em ups is the camera. I feel like I was, and the thing was, I think they tried to work around it by having fixed cameras, but it still didn't work because there were sometimes there's like objects that were just in front of you or whatever, and then you couldn't see I understand, like you mentioned before, you have the little kind of outlines for your characters, but it still just wasn't like you just weren't being able to judge like your distance between your the opponent or whatever it is. So it just didn't feel right. 3D I think beat 'em ups are hard.
I think probably what happened was that cool like effect with the sketchy art thing wasn't there. when they were first built the game. And they're like, oh, we got a problem. Yeah. And so then they put it in and it fixes it in some places.
Right.
But when your character is completely obfuscated by a piece of terrain or something, like that's a bad camera angle.
Not great, Bob. No, yeah. I agree. And like, I don't know how you felt, but I thought the combat was okay. Like like we kind of talked about, you have upgrades and things like that, but it's still something about it felt hollow.
Yeah. It could be that, they have a lot to unlock and like the depth of the combat comes later.
Maybe.
We did just play the first hour.
Yeah.
And because it does kind of like circle you through all the turtles, you never really get very far in any one of the turtles.
Right.
But like, I know what you're saying, because not just there.
Yeah.
But like all the enemies are the same.
Yeah.
Right. Like there's so much repetition to the enemies, and like shucks, like when we were playing the NES Ninja Turtles, right? Ninja Turtles 2, right? The retake of the arcade game.
Yeah.
Like just palette swap some foot soldiers, man. Like it's not hard. Just put a different piece of color on them.
Yeah.
And make them hold a different item, and done. You're done. Like.
Yeah. I mean, and I was also thinking like, or if they just added more enemies. I just felt like it was kind of easy. But I'm also thinking like, is this like meant for a younger audience? So they made it easier, and I don't know. It was just that there was that part of it where I was thinking about. I was like, I don't know.
But is it easy? Is it easy though, Chris? Because like you miss jumps, you take damage, you get hit by the trains. Like there's parts of this where like the camera is the most dangerous thing.
That's the worst villain of all. Yeah, I get what you're saying, and I think those were definitely kind of callbacks to the arcade, and
maybe that was like on purpose for sure.
Yeah.
Right. Could
but like, I don't know. I agree. Like the fact that you don't have much variety in the enemies definitely hurt. But again, it was the first hour.
Yeah.
Maybe they add up, spice things up a bit. The other thing was like they had this grand entrance for a lot of the actually all the enemy types.
Yeah.
And that gave me like vibes of like Hi-Fi Rush.
Mm-hmm.
But like I don't know. It was with Hi-Fi Rush, like you had like when a new enemy was introduced, you had to approach them in a different way.
Yeah.
With these, you do the same thing.
Yep.
So it wasn't like as grand of an entry. I was like, oh, okay, there's this guy.
It wasn't okay. Now I need to learn a new mechanic.
Right. So like it was like, was that necessary? Like again, a moment where it just stops the combat, stops the action, and it was just like, all right, well, okay, let's go on, move on. And then we talked a little bit about how this is kind of borrowing from Persona. It also borrows it because of this whole relationship building thing.
Yeah.
Which I'm not really a fan of.
It's understandable.
Yeah. It's just like, I don't know. I think they're trying too much. They're trying too many different things. And it was like, it just felt forced. It felt like a forced kind of thing, and I was like, cool. I guess
on
it's
some
adding.
level, I agree with you. Like, do one thing really well.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really tight, like mechanically fun to play game,
right?
And then you can add a couple of little weird things on top, but you don't need to dabble into 14 different things.
Yeah,
you probably won't do any of them well.
Exactly. Yeah, you stretch yourself too thin. I mean, that's why Konami did what they did with the original Turtles and all their arcade fighters at the time. Right? They just kept it simple. Move to the right, punch things.
Yeah.
But and they also had pretty decent bosses. But anyway, what else do we got here? Anything else, Tom?
I'm down to my last one.
Actually, okay, go ahead.
So for those of you not looking at my notes, I made a very colorful distribution of notes, and I always do this whenever we make the notes for the show. But I purposefully put dislikes in red. And it's not because red is the color of stopping or not liking things. It's because I can't stand Raphael.
Oh, you're the worst.
And I was forced to play as Raphael, the worst Ninja Turtle. And so that is my last dislike on my list.
Well, I I was actually going to be super upset if the game forced you to play as a turtle, because like in the tutorial stage, you did play as Leonardo, who's not my favorite Ninja Turtle as well. So I was like super upset that I had to play him the entire time. But thankfully, you don't have to.
No.
And eventually, you get to go to a character select screen, and you can pick who you need to be. But yeah, yeah, that was sorry. But you know what? Beggars can't be choosers, I guess, in a TMNT game made by Aheartfulofgames, or Aheartfulofgames. So
I will quote one of my two favorite turtles in saying that all the best ones end in O.
That is a lie, and you know it. But anyway,
3 out of 4 of them do.
Whatever. Raph's the best. All right, so let's get to our other thoughts then, Tom.
All right. Why don't you tell us a little bit about how long this game is and that sort of thing?
Surprisingly, this game is 13 to 15 hours, according to How Long to Beat.
Well, that's not a big surprise because
all the cutscenes and everything.
Yeah,
that's true,
right?
That Pat, I would say then this game is probably about 7 hours. Maybe.
Yeah, and that I mean, it tracks, right? Like you look at that and you go, yeah, you're not going to beat this in 2 hours like you could the Super Nintendo game or something,
right? This game does have Xbox Play Anywhere with xCloud, and I know you're going to mention this too, but this does have co-op.
Yeah.
Local and online.
Hey now.
For 2 people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever.
Well, I right, like what's up with that? There are 4 turtles.
There's 4 turtles. Couldn't figure it out. Anyway, what you got?
Such a strange one. Okay. So we've talked about it a little bit. It's set in the universe of Mutant Mayhem, which is the most recent Ninja Turtle film. It takes place shortly afterward. It is in continuity with that film.
So is this canon? Did they say it's actually canon?
I mean, as canon as something can be, and I think they have shorts also that are connected to the film.
Okay.
Like animated shorts. So, but as far as I know, that's all that they've made in this version of the Turtles.
Okay.
I found out the developer has mostly done DreamWorks tie-in games.
Oh, like Kung Fu Panda or Shrek?
Yeah, How to Train Your Dragon.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, that's not usually a great sign. but I will say they do have a self-published game called Heart and Slash.
Okay.
And that was like really well received. Oh. So it makes me wonder like the why. Like I guess, listen, you got to make stuff that's going to pay the bills at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of those smaller studios, if they get an opportunity to work with a bigger IP, they're going to take it because it's probably easier money than trying to go with a brand new IP, which is like, it's hard to get something brand new in front of a lot of people, unless you get nowadays, unless you get some sort of big streamer that's like singing your praises or something like that.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, something we didn't have in our youth.
Nope.
So there apparently is DLC for this game, and it's called Fresh Meat. Oh. It was never ever mentioned while I was playing.
Yeah, I didn't notice that either.
I want to say thank you to Aheartfulofgames for not trying to shove their DLC down my throat. But otherwise, not a whole lot of background information on this.
Interesting. All right. Well, all right then, Tom. I guess we have to figure out, are we keeping this game on our respective hard drives? Or are we throwing it away like one of those empty boxes of pizzas that the Turtles have finished?
So I'll say that I was frustrated by the repeated enemies and some of the bugs that I encountered. But at the same time, right, it is Ninja Turtles, which I love. And it's not hard, right?
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to maybe play through it anyway. Finding out like 13 to 15 hours. My thought was, this is going to be pretty short. Like, that's not going to be a problem. And now you're saying 13 to 15 hours. I'm like, golly gee, that's a lot longer than I was thinking.
That's a commitment, I got to say.
But I will say that my save file says that I'm like 9.5% complete.
Okay.
So assuming I keep that pace, maybe I can beat the game in 10. That seems okay.
Okay. Look, I enjoyed the new TMNT, or Ninja Turtles movie, and I'm a big Ninja Turtles fan from the get go. I was excited to go back to this franchise for sure, but there was another game that just did this a lot better, and it's called Shredder's Revenge.
Yes,
and yes, it does it with one less dimension.
Yes,
and it does it well. This game, just because that kind of jerky nature, that jerky pacing, I just can't get back into. I'm kind of, especially if it's canon, I'm kind of curious to try it. I keep going because there's some threads that happen in the game that was like, oh, okay, that's where they're going with that. Like, that's how they make them, anyway. But like, I don't know. I don't know if it's that I'm going to commit 13 to 15 hours to figure that out.
Yeah.
So I'm probably going to pass.
That does seem a bit much. I think what I'll probably do is play another hour and see how close to 20% I get.
Yeah.
Because if it doesn't move at all, and I'm like, oh, I've played 2 hours and now I'm at 11%.
Yeah.
I'm going to go,
no. I'm out. Yeah. Well, those are our thoughts. Let us know what you think of this game. Follow us and say hello on Blue Sky at 1H1D, Twitter and Threads at TC1H1D, or our email at TC1H1D@gmail.com. Check out our next streams on Twitch at twitch.tv/1H1D. And hey, if you're watching this on YouTube, maybe send us a comment down below and say Raph is the best, because that's the correct answer.
Or
there's
just
no question.
Quote Michelangelo.
No, we're not quoting Michelangelo. Michelangelo can shove it with his nunchucks, all right? That's fine. But yeah, or leave us a review, like, subscribe, whatever. That'd be cool too. 1H1D is part of that QTB network, and if you like any great gaming content, check it all out. quitthebill.com/network.
Okay, Chris.
Okay.
You know what?
What?
I'm willing to let the Xbox Game Pass surprise me button pick the next game, I suppose.
Oh, thank you so much for relinquishing your control. But now, we will hit that button.
After I've made this major mistake. Please take back over.
Yeah. Yes. Give me the keys. No more. All right. Here we go. Okay. Journey to the Savage Planet.
Okay. Sure, why not? Let's take a journey to a savage planet. What could possibly go wrong?
Move far away from this game, I guess. That's what we're doing. So that is it for this episode. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in, and we will catch you on the next one.
Thanks, everybody.